my name is Levi Zamudio Padilla. Today I'll be explaining my science project. Today I'll be explaining about why does water freeze at 32 degrees, and I'll also be explaining about how to lower the freezing point. What kind of materials, like saying like what do we need to lower the freezing point? For example, we can use sugar, salt, but the main thing I'm gonna use is salt to explain why it lowers the freezing point and try to explain it the most scientific way I can. And I'll also be explaining how animals can survive down the oceans, like swim through that freezing type of freezing point. And I'll also be explaining about the wood frogs. Wood frogs are mainly my main point of explaining how they can survive down there. It's really crazy and interesting how they can survive down there. And yeah, and I'll be introducing the materials once the next video.
2 cups of water. Place about a tablespoon of salt in one of the cups. Place both cups in the freezer. Check each cup about every 10 minutes. You can notice that the cup of water without salt freezes first. Now take 2 ice cubes out of the freezer. Place the ice cubes on separate plates and sprinkle salt on one ice cube. Which ice cube will melt first? The ice cube with salt will melt first.
I'll be explaining the materials that we will need throughout this video. So we're going to need 2 of these to put in the water for it can freeze, and then we can take it out and explain which one was freezing faster. So what we're going to do is put 2 waters in here. So 2 waters in the video. So we got 1. And before we put water on this one, we're gonna add salt in it. Just a tiny bit of salt. Let's see. And then we're gonna put water on top of it. And then there we go. And then we're gonna compare, we're gonna check every 10 minutes in the freezer, which I'm gonna do, and put it at 32 degrees and see which one freezes faster and why, and explain why it does. So we're gonna put these in the freezer, and then we're gonna check every 10 minutes, see how it's doing, and then by like an hour I should be able to take them out and then put more material. So we're also gonna use a plate. So we're gonna use this type of plates, and we're gonna put the water in there, and we're gonna put the ice, and we're gonna put salt on the ice, and we're gonna see why it freezes, which one freezes, which one melts faster, and see why it did, and explain like some science of why it did, and use some knowledge in class that we learned and explain why it did. Sorry, I said that twice. Next topic I'll be reading about is our wood frogs, polar bears, and fishes. Alright, so we're gonna start with polar bears. Polar bears survive in a coat because they have like furry coats. They have layers of blubbers that help them insulate the polar bears' bodies from cold and keeping the temperature at an even 37 degrees. They can push down to like 58 degrees, negative 58 degrees. A quick swim in the sea will register to like 28.8 Fahrenheit. Since salt water has a lower freezing point than fish waters, polar bears don't sleep off the cold like black bears do or any other bears do. They are mostly built for them to be in the cold because of their fur. And then we'll move on to fishes. And now we're going to talk about fishes. As you can see in the picture, to survive Antarctica, fishes have developed like a protein that can act like an antifreeze. The antifreeze protein, along with the normal body salt, depresses the freezing point of blood and body and fluid to 2.5, slightly below the freezing point of seawater. And the last one we'll talk about are wood frogs. Wood frogs. While animals would die at sub-zero temperatures, wood frogs will survive during the wood frog's hibernation, cryoprotectin. Inside of the frog, bodies act like an antifreeze, like a fish, preventing ice crystals from forming inside their cells by lowering the body freezing point, keeping their cells and tissues from freezing and bursting. If you were to find a hibernating wood frog, it would appear dead, cold, frozen, and stiff. They also bent a leg. It would most likely break off. Up to 16% of their entire body freezes during the cold winter. Wood frogs are mainly my main point because they can literally survive 8 months with being frozen, and these frogs are mainly special because of the stuff they can do, like not all animals can do, or any other insects or other frogs or fishes, because wood frogs have a more of a anti-freeze in their body.